Tiffany Trump and Michael Boulos said, "I do," on a bright Saturday in Palm Beach, Florida, a wedding that looked like something out of a billionaire's fairy tale. Most of us can only imagine what it feels like when the daughter of a wealthy former president marries into another powerful family. It's not exactly an everyday sight. But Tiffany knows that world well. She married the man she loved, a young billionaire from a prominent Lebanese Nigerian family, yet the celebration almost didn't happen. Something behind the scenes nearly pushed the entire event off the calendar. We're going to unravel everything, from how they met to what almost derailed their big day. So let's dive in. The beginning of their story. Their first meeting didn't take place at a political gala or some elite business conference. Instead, it happened in 2018 on the beaches of Mykonos, Greece. Tiffany was on vacation with Lindsay Lohan, who happened to be hosting at the beach club where Michael walked in. What happened next wasn't planned. It was one of those rare moments where two people just immediately connected. Some insisted Lohan played matchmaker, but she later brushed off the rumor, saying she simply invited both of them as a hostess, nothing more. Whatever the circumstances, Tiffany and Michael bonded instantly. Despite living on different continents, they managed to turn that summer spark into something real. They made the long-distance routine look easy, traveling back and forth, showing up together at major events, and slowly blending their lives. During Donald Trump's presidency, Michael even stepped into the spotlight, appearing beside Tiffany at White House gatherings and family holidays at Mar-a-Lago. His calm, quiet confidence fit surprisingly well with the loud, unpredictable world surrounding the Trump name, and that steadiness helped their relationship grow stronger. Before we continue with their love story, it helps to understand the separate paths that led them to each other. Tiffany's life before marriage. Tiffany Ariana Trump was born on October 13, 1993, in West Palm Beach. She is the only child of Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples. While her older half-siblings, Ivanka, Eric, and Donald Jr., grew up under constant media and business scrutiny in New York, Tiffany's childhood was noticeably quieter. Her parents separated when she was young, finalizing their divorce in 1999. After the split, Tiffany moved to California with her mother, far from the daily spotlight that hovered over the rest of the Trump family. Living across the country meant she wasn't photographed at Trump Tower or involved in the family business the way her siblings were. Still, she maintained a relationship with her father, though naturally it wasn't the same as the bond shared by the children who lived with him full-time. Life in Los Angeles exposed her to a different kind of environment: Hollywood glamour, artistic circles, and a more relaxed culture. She attended Viewpoint School in Calabasas, a private school known for its high standards and polished community. Growing up in that atmosphere gave Tiffany a broader perspective than the business-first world her father inhabited in New York. In 2012, she followed a bit of family tradition by enrolling at the University of Pennsylvania, the same Ivy League school her father and Ivanka attended. She studied sociology with an emphasis on law and urban studies, graduating in 2016. After college, she explored the creative world for a while, interning at Vogue and even releasing a pop song called Like a Bird. She later told Oprah that music was more curiosity than career, a fun experience rather than a calling. Everything shifted in 2017 when she started law school at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. This transition happened while her father was in the White House, which meant she suddenly found herself on the edge of political life. She made appearances at campaign events and occasionally spoke on his behalf, though she never took on a central role like Ivanka or her brothers. Still, she balanced law school and public expectations with surprising poise. By 2020, Tiffany had earned her law degree. Instead of diving into a traditional legal career, she kept her options open, attending high-profile events, staying connected to her family, and exploring opportunities across business, fashion, and public life, growing up as the president's daughter. When Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, the entire Trump family became a daily subject of media attention. But among the 5 Trump children, Tiffany remained the most private. Ivanka became her father's close advisor. Eric and Donald Jr. took charge of the family business. Tiffany stayed in a quieter lane. She made a few important public appearances, including a heartfelt speech at the 2016 Republican National Convention, but she wasn't heavily involved in political strategy or the family company. That difference fueled endless speculation from the press about her relationship with her father and her role in the family. She found herself navigating a difficult balance, supporting her father while still trying to define who she was outside the Trump brand. As the presidency went on, she continued to show up for significant moments, White House events, holiday gatherings, and family milestones, but always with a gentler presence than her more outspoken siblings. Her path may have been different, but every step led her toward the moment she would eventually stand at the altar with Michael Boulos. Tiffany was never the loudest member of the Trump family, but she did show up for the moments that mattered: state dinners, White House holiday celebrations, and the yearly Thanksgiving gatherings at Mar-a-Lago. She traveled abroad with her family for official ceremonies and diplomatic events, quietly blending into a world filled with cameras, security teams, and political protocol. So who exactly is Michael Boulos? People know Tiffany married into a wealthy Arab family, but most still don't know much about the man she chose. Michael Boulos grew up surrounded by extraordinary privilege, but his background is far more complex than the typical billionaire story. Michael was born on August 27, 1997, into one of the most prominent Lebanese, Nigerian families in the business world. His father, Masad Boulos, is a major figure in West Africa's commercial landscape and oversees the multi-billion-dollar company Boulos Enterprises. The firm dominates Nigeria's motorcycle, powerbike, and tricycle market, and has expanded into various other industries over the years. Even with that level of wealth, the Boulos family isn't flashy. They don't live in the headlines or parade their fortune on social media. Their style is quiet power, influence without the theatrics. That's why most people had no idea who Michael was until he appeared beside Tiffany Trump. Michael's upbringing and education. Michael spent much of his childhood in Lagos, where his family's businesses hold a strong presence. But he didn't grow up in only one world. His education took him from elite schools in Nigeria to prestigious institutions in Europe. That mix of cultures, Lebanese roots, Nigerian upbringing, and European influence, gave him a global perspective early in life. It also shaped him into someone comfortable moving between different social worlds, a trait that later made him a natural fit beside Tiffany. His role in the family empire. Just like his father and grandfather, Michael became deeply involved in the family's operations. Boulos Enterprises has grown far beyond its original focus on motorcycles, branching into trade, commerce, and heavy equipment across West Africa. As Michael entered adulthood, he began taking on more strategic responsibilities, assisting with expansions, watching over investments, and learning the blueprint of the empire he is expected to help lead one day. Although the company does not publicize titles or job descriptions, it's widely understood that Michael is being prepared for a senior leadership role. Alongside the family's main business, he has also explored investment opportunities in emerging African markets, adding new layers to the Boulos portfolio. The proposal. We've all seen proposals from everyday couples, sweet, simple, sometimes even spontaneous. Now imagine that moment in the world Tiffany Trump and Michael Boulos come from. Two families of enormous wealth, political connections, and international influence. You can only picture the scale, the planning, the emotion, and the sparkle behind a proposal like theirs. When Michael Boulos decided it was time to ask Tiffany Trump to marry him, He chose a moment that carried enormous personal meaning. It was January 2021, just days before Donald Trump's presidency came to an end. The proposal took place in the White House Rose Garden, quiet, elegant, and far away from the chaos happening everywhere else in Washington at the time. Only a handful of family members even knew what Michael was planning. In that small, intimate setting, the center of attention became the ring he placed on Tiffany's finger, a jaw-dropping 13-carat emerald-cut diamond set in platinum. The piece was crafted by Samer Halame, a jeweler known for creating dramatic, high-end masterpieces for royalty and celebrities. Publications like Town and Country estimated the ring at around $1.2 million, and anyone who saw it could understand why. Michael had already built a reputation for spoiling Tiffany with extravagant gifts throughout their relationship. According to Daily Mail, he often surprised her with rare handbags, custom jewelry, and one-of-a-kind designer pieces. Outsiders sometimes wondered why he bothered. Tiffany came from money herself. But for Michael, that was simply how he expressed affection. Lavish generosity was part of the world he grew up in, and giving was his love language. Both families were thrilled about the engagement despite their different backgrounds, one rooted in American politics, the other tied to Lebanese heritage and Nigerian business circles. The Trumps welcomed Michael easily, recognizing how steady and supportive he was with Tiffany. And the Boulos family admired Tiffany for her poise, education, and values. Sources who spoke to People magazine said the families blended far more smoothly than anyone expected, and were genuinely excited for the couple's future. On January 19, 2021, the final full day of the Trump administration, Tiffany and Michael went public with their engagement. Tiffany shared a photograph of the two of them inside the White House and wrote how meaningful it felt to celebrate one of the biggest moments of her life in a place filled with family memories. She ended her post by saying she felt blessed and ready for the next chapter. Michael posted his own announcement, proudly calling Tiffany the love of my life. A wedding fit for two global families. Nearly 2 years later, on November 12, 2022, Tiffany Trump and Michael Boulos were married in a lavish ceremony at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's sprawling estate in Palm Beach. If you've ever seen the property, you know it's practically designed for grand occasions. Mediterranean architecture, palm-lined pathways, sweeping ocean views, it all created a dreamlike backdrop. Vanity Fair reported that Tiffany chose the venue partly because Mar-a-Lago was a big part of her childhood, and she wanted the setting to carry personal meaning. The wedding took months of planning. Tiffany worked closely with elite designers and planners to shape every detail, from the floral arches to the gourmet menu. Nothing was rushed or left to chance. Guests arrived to find gardens overflowing with white roses and orchids, forming a canopy over the outdoor seating area. Under a breathtaking floral arch, Tiffany and Michael exchanged vows surrounded by family and close friends. Later, everyone moved indoors to the grand ballroom, where dinner, music, and hours of dancing followed. The guest list was exactly what you'd expect at an event connecting two powerful families. Donald Trump and Melania were there, along with Ivanka, Donald Jr. and Eric, all standing together in a rare moment of unity despite the constant rumors of tension among them. Michael's parents, Masad and Sarah Boulos, traveled from Nigeria and Europe to represent their side of the family. They were seen greeting guests with quiet pride, marking the merging of two very different worlds. Even though the media was kept at a controlled distance, several well-known political figures and celebrities made appearances. And Tiffany stole the show in a custom Elie Saab gown, a stunning creation with intricate lace, a dramatic train, and a flowing veil that gave her the look of classic Hollywood elegance blended with modern glamour. Tiffany's gown was impossible to ignore. According to Vogue, she chose the Elie Saab creation as a quiet tribute to Michael's Lebanese heritage, and the moment she stepped into the garden, She looked like something straight out of a storybook. Her father, Donald Trump, walked her down the aisle as guests watched her glide forward with a mix of nerves, joy, and that unmistakable bridal glow. Tiffany and Michael exchanged deeply personal vows, speaking directly from the heart as their closest loved ones looked on. Once the ceremony ended, everyone made their way into Mar-a-Lago's grand ballroom for a reception that was just as extravagant. Glittering chandeliers hung over tables filled with towering floral arrangements, and a menu reflecting three cultures: American comfort, Lebanese tradition, and Nigerian flavors, made the evening feel like a celebration of both families. The room came alive with dancing, laughter, and emotional toasts. Tiffany and Michael's first dance was tender and romantic, and later Donald Trump delivered a proud, heartfelt speech about watching his youngest daughter find the person she truly loved. Everything looked perfect. So why did this dream wedding nearly fall apart? The chaos behind the scenes. In the weeks leading up to the big day, several problems almost pushed the wedding off the calendar entirely. The first issue was the political storm swirling around Donald Trump at the time. Reports from Page 6 mentioned growing concern within the family about how the public might react to a glamorous, high-profile wedding while Trump was still under intense media scrutiny. Some wondered whether hosting such an event would spark criticism or overshadow the celebration. Then nature stepped in with its own challenge. A tropical storm slammed into Florida just days before the ceremony, and Mar-a-Lago's outdoor areas, a major part of the wedding plan, took the hit. According to TMZ, staff rushed to inspect the gardens, structures, and decor to determine what could be saved. The possibility of moving or even postponing the event hung heavily in the air as families and planners examined every option. And as if politics and weather weren't enough, security concerns added another layer of pressure. Tiffany was the daughter of a former U.S. president, and Michael came from a wealthy, globally connected family. Daily Mail reported that additional security teams had to be brought in, creating logistical headaches and increasing everyone's anxiety. For a moment, it seemed like the multi-million-dollar celebration might collapse entirely. But Tiffany and Michael refused to panic. They saw the complications not as disasters, but as hurdles they simply needed to clear. Tiffany, who had personally overseen so much of the planning, stepped into full leadership mode. A source who spoke to the New York Post described her as focused, steady, and absolutely determined not to let a storm steal her wedding. She coordinated backup plans, shifting certain parts of the event indoors, adjusting schedules, and working closely with Mar-a-Lago's team to protect everything from decor to electrical equipment. Staff worked through the night in the final days, reinforcing structures, safeguarding floral setups, and constantly monitoring the weather. And then, almost miraculously, the skies opened up on the morning of the ceremony. The rain faded, the clouds began to lift, and as Vogue beautifully put it, the sun broke through just in time for Tiffany to walk down the aisle exactly as she had imagined. In the end, all the stress, all the tension, and all the uncertainty melted away the moment the ceremony began. Tiffany and Michael got the outdoor wedding they dreamed of, and their families watched the day unfold with relief and joy. In the end, the wedding turned out beautifully, not because everything went smoothly, but because Tiffany and Michael refused to let anything ruin their moment. Their determination, along with the effort from both families, transformed a near disaster into a memory they'll someday laugh about with their children and grandchildren. Imagine them telling the story years from now. Yes, the wedding almost blew away, but we still made it down the aisle. Tiffany later told People that those last few days before the ceremony felt like a wild emotional ride. But she added that nothing, not storms, not stress, not pressure, could stop them from celebrating the love they built together. Her words spread quickly, touching everyone who followed their journey and believed they truly earned their happily ever after. Life after the wedding. Once the celebration was over, Tiffany and Michael settled into married life by bouncing between the US and Europe. They've been spotted everywhere from bustling New York streets to quiet corners of London, where Michael's family keeps strong ties. Their social media shows a mix of city adventures, romantic dinners, and peaceful vacations, a blend of work and play that seems to suit them perfectly. Both have been focusing on their professional goals as well. Tiffany has shown interest in expanding into business and philanthropy. According to the New York Post, she's talked about using her platform to support causes close to her heart, especially women's issues and educational opportunities. Michael, meanwhile, has continued working within the Boulos business network, contributing to projects across Africa and other parts of the world. And what about starting a family? Tiffany hinted in an interview with Us Weekly that it's definitely something they've discussed. They aren't rushing into parenthood, but they're open about wanting children someday. For now, they seem content building their life step by step, living in the spotlight. As with most high-profile couples, the media hasn't stopped watching them. Publications like People and Vanity Fair regularly cover their outings, whether they're attending formal events or enjoying casual getaways. Paparazzi cameras follow them often, and the public stays curious about where their journey might lead. The reaction to their marriage has mostly been warm and supportive. Fans admire their commitment to each other and their ability to rise above pressure. Still, some speculate about Tiffany's future. With her family name and political exposure, people wonder whether she might one day play a larger role in public affairs. Politico noted that she could potentially influence conversations among younger voters if she ever chooses to step into the political arena. Final thoughts. What do you think about Tiffany and Michael's story? Does their perseverance inspire you the way it has inspired so many others? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more storytelling and updates just like this.